Snowfall at the springs of Lantern Hollow. The road dips gently into Lantern Hollow just before nightfall. It always does. The basin gathers light differently than the ridges above it. The sky softens here sooner. Snow settles sooner. Even sound seems to lose its sharp edges as you descend. Your tires roll over gravel cleared in a careful ribbon through the white. Snowbanks rise on either side, rounded and patient, sculpted by days of quiet accumulation. You do not check the time. Lantern Hollow does not measure it for you. When you turn off the engine, the quiet does not arrive. It reveals itself. The ticking of cooling metal fades. Your breath becomes visible, somewhere deeper in the basin. The springs are already breathing steam into the cold air. You sit a moment longer than necessary, not because you are reluctant, because something inside you has already begun to slow. You open the door. Cold meets your cheeks and collarbones with clean intention. It does not bite. It simply exists. The wooden roadside sign stands where it always has. Lantern Hollow. Snow rests along the top edge, thick but undisturbed. The carved letters are dark against the pale world around them. No slogan, no welcome, just the name. Lanterns line the stone path toward the springs. Their amber light gathers warmly against the falling dusk. Someone has brushed the snow from each glass pane. Someone has swept the stones again. They are always swept. Steam rises ahead of you in thick silver columns. In winter, the springs make themselves known not through sound, but through breath. You follow the cleared path. Each step presses softly into snow along the edges. Your boots leave a shallow impression that will soften overnight. The bathhouse windows glow from within. Inside, the air changes immediately. Cedar, warm ironed, eucalyptus. The cast iron stove hums steadily, heat radiating outward in slow waves. A kettle whispers on top, steam coiling lazily upward before dissolving into the beams above. Mee looks up from the wooden counter. Her silver braid rests over one shoulder tonight. Evening, she says. Her voice is not loud. It does not need to be. You nod. There is no need to explain your arrival. Few people explain why they return to Lantern Hollow. Mee hands you a robe warmed near the stove. The wool feels substantial, almost grounding in its weight. Snow drifts beyond the window. You picked a quiet one, she says softly. You understand what she means. Lantern Hollow holds different kinds of nights. Some hum faintly with more presence. Some settle low and inward. Tonight feels inward. You hang your coat on a hook worn smooth by years of use. The wood beneath your fingers carries subtle polish from other hands before yours. On the chalkboard near the door, soak gently, warm slowly, no hours posted. The stove ticks again as another log shifts. You step back outside. Cold air meets warmed skin with sharper clarity now. Snow gathers lightly in your hair and along your shoulders. The springs glow below, dark stone carved into the mountain's inward curve, edges rimmed with frost, steam rising thick and luminous against deepening blue. The basin holds warmth the way it holds sound, gently, fully. There are others here. A man stands ankle deep at the edge, breathing carefully as he lowers himself further. His shoulders are tense at first, then less so. A woman sits near the warmer inlet, hands floating palm up at the surface. Her eyes are closed. Snow rests briefly in her hair before melting. Near the far edge, someone leans back against smooth stone, chin tilted upward toward the falling sky. No one acknowledges your arrival. You do not need acknowledgement. Lantern Hollow has never required performance. You kneel at the stone rim, dip your fingers into the water. Warmth wraps around your skin immediately. It is not sharp, it is enveloping. You step in slowly. Water climbs your calves, your knees, your thighs. Cold air remains on your shoulders, while heat gathers below. The contrast steals half a breath from you, then returns it longer. You lower yourself further. Your waist, your ribs, your chest. When the water reaches your collarbones, the cold loosens its hold. Steam gathers around your face, softening the world into blurred lantern light and shadow. Snow touches the surface and disappears without sound. You lean back against the stone. It is smooth from years of use, not polished artificially, worn by time and weight and warmth. You close your eyes. For a few moments, nothing happens. And then, your shoulders lower, not dramatically, just enough. The muscle along the back of your neck releases a fraction. You notice how tightly you have been holding your jaw. It softens. Your breathing lengthens without instruction. Snow continues to fall. In Lantern Hollow, snow does not rush. It drifts. It gathers. It settles into corners of stone and along lantern tops. You feel the water move slightly around you as someone shifts nearby. A ripple reaches your arms and dissolves. The basin feels contained. The ridgelines above block harsher wind. Snow falls straight down, not sideways. Sound settles differently here. Even laughter, when it comes briefly from the far side of the pool, seems to soften before reaching you. You do not think about tomorrow. You do not review conversations. Your thoughts thin. Steam rises. Snow falls. Warmth presses gently into muscle. You feel the water reaching the places that hold tension without your consent. Between your shoulder blades, along your lower back, behind your knees. You had not noticed the tightness until it began to fade. The man who entered earlier exhales audibly now. A sound of relief, not fatigue. The woman near the inlet shifts slightly closer to the warmer stream. Her fingers curl and uncurl once at the surface of the water. Mi's quiet sweeping along the outer path is barely audible. A soft brush against stone. You lift your hand slightly above the surface. Cold air meets warm skin. Droplets bead along your fingers and slide back into the basin. You watch the steam swirl around your wrist and disappear into night. There is something deeply steady about water that continues flowing whether you are here or not. The springs were breathing before you arrived. They will breathe long after you leave. That steadiness feels borrowed. You sink a fraction lower. Water reaches the base of your throat. Snow lands on your hairline and melts into warmth. The small wooden tray along the edge holds slices of blood orange, candied ginger, cool water in glass bottles wrapped in linen. You take a slice of orange. Its scent is bright against mineral air. Sweetness opens briefly on your tongue. You follow it with a small piece of ginger. Heat travels differently through your chest. Your heartbeat slows, not heavy, not dull, just measured. The sky deepens. Lantern light reflects off falling flakes. You begin to feel the soft distance that happens when your body is warm enough, and your mind no longer feels required. Memories flicker faintly, not detailed, not demanding, just impressions. A kitchen long ago, a hand closing a door softly, the quiet of snowfall in another place. They pass without attaching. You let them. Lantern hollow does not press for reflection. It simply allows space. Eventually, you rise. Cold air rushes against warmed skin. It is sharp, but not unkind. Me is already there, with the robe open. She does not ask how long you stayed. She never does. Inside, the bathhouse glows. The stove burns lower now. The kettle has been moved aside. You follow the narrow hallway to the tearoom. Candles flicker in thick glass jars along frosted windows. The long wooden table rests ready. Thomas from the inn sent bread down earlier, still warm when it arrived. It sits beneath a folded cloth. Tea steams in heavy ceramic cups. Mulled pear, cinnamon, clove. You take a seat near the window. Outside, the springs continue breathing into the night. The man from the basin enters quietly and wraps his hands around a cup. He stares into the rising steam. The woman near the inlet follows, cheeks flushed. An older woman steps in last, cane tapping gently. Someone pulls out a chair without being asked. Conversation remains minimal. You lift your cup. The ceramic warms your palms. You inhale, pear and spice. You sip slowly. Heat spreads through your chest in a different way than the springs did, softer, slower. Honey waits in a small bowl at the center of the table. You drizzle a thin ribbon into your tea. It dissolves in spirals. Snow taps against the window. The roof settles faintly under weight. You notice how your shoulders no longer sit near your ears, how your breath now fills lower in your lungs, how your thoughts no longer stack themselves urgently. No one speaks loudly. No one checks a clock. Lantern Hollow does not rush departure. Eventually, you stand. Wrap the robe tighter. Step back outside The snowfall has softened to a faint drift. Lantern light glows low along the path. The wooden sign waits in the snow. Lantern hollow, nothing more. You pause before brushing snow from your windshield. Steam still rises behind you. The tearoom windows glow steady. The basin holds warmth, inside cold. You had not meant to return so soon, but Lantern Hollow rarely feels like arrival. It feels like continuation. And as you drive slowly up the curved road out of the basin, your muscles remain softened. Your breath remains slow. The warmth lingers in bone. Lantern Hollow always does.